So we're going to talk about scholarships, but I think it's really helpful before we start talking about the scholarships to talk about financial aid in general. And I often use the analogy that financial aid is like an umbrella. It's an umbrella term for everything that's included underneath, including those scholarships. So let's talk about what financial aid consists of. So the very first piece in securing any type of financial aid is typically the FAFSA. And the FAFSA is nothing more than an application. Oftentimes people will say, oh, I didn't get any money from FAFSA. FAFSA is just an application. It can't give you any money. FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So when you apply through FAFSA, the government has an algorithm to look at your assets and your income and determine how much need you have. So there's several things we're going to talk about and then finally get to those scholarships. So the first thing that the government looks at is your need. And like I said, that's determined by your assets and income, primarily your income. That's a huge, huge portion of it. There's a Pell Grant, first thing that is doled out by the government, and that Pell Grant, the maximum dollar amount is $6,345 per year. So it's not a lot of money. And again, you really have to demonstrate need between the cost of attendance at the school that you're looking at and your expected family contribution. That expected family contribution is referred to as your EFC number. It's an important number to know. When you complete your FAFSA, it'll allow you to print a page, and on that page, it has your EFC number. And like I said, if you're thinking about appealing your financial aid award, it is a really good idea to know that number so that you can really speak directly to that, because that's what schools are looking at. They're looking at that EFC number the government has assigned you. The next thing that you can get based on your FAFSA results are your Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, and that's for extreme need. The third thing is actually work study. So some schools will award work study to students who have some need. Now, work study doesn't come off your top line. So let's say tuition's $20,000 a year. They award you $2,500 in work study. Your new balance is not $17,500. That $2,500 is how much your child can earn by working at a job on campus over the course of the year. So it minimizes the amount you have to send them for pizza and supplies and laundry detergent and all that good stuff. But it does not come off that top tuition price. So it's really important to know, because sometimes families are like, okay, we've got it budgeted down to the penny, and then they realize that's not really a payment or it's not really reducing their payment. So that is important. And the final thing is college grants. A lot of schools do a great job of trying to help meet the need that families have. So the college itself can award grants. As in anything, every school is different. Some are really good at awarding additional money and some are not. Every year it kind of changes. This year, we're really anxious to see what type of financial aid awards are going to happen, because we've never been in a pandemic before. And a lot of schools have lost money due to their endowments in the market taking a big, huge hit. And other schools are still ready to hand out that money. And some schools have shifted too. For instance, Ohio State University, they've let us know that they are shifting some of their merit money to need-based money to be able to award more grants to families who've experienced problems due to the pandemic. So those are the first things that are looked at based on your FAFSA. It's the first opportunity for money based on your FAFSA. The next thing that happens is you're awarded federal student loan money. The maximum amount for a freshman is $5,500. Again, not really going to pay for school. At most schools. That $5,500 increases each year to a final award of $7,500. because they look at, as students are in their junior and senior year, they're going to need more money because they're likely to have internships, driving expenses, be going on interviews and so forth. Every student is eligible for that as long as they don't have delinquent student loans and they don't have a federal drug conviction. Other felonies, okay, but not a federal drug conviction. So government rules. The next direction that schools typically send you is to a parent plus loan. It's a federal student loan. It's taken out by the parents. I'm not a big fan of parent plus loans. I have personally witnessed people be in debt almost $200,000. And it's on the parents. The kids aren't on it at all. The kids aren't coming home saying, oh, sure, let me help you pay that, mom and dad. So I really highly recommend the next option, which is a private student loan. A private student loan is something that you can get through Sallie Mae, Discover Student Loans. Your local bank oftentimes will have that option. Credit unions sometimes will have private student loans. But private student loans require your child to apply. They're on the hook and you are the co-signer, or someone is the co-signer, because private student loans do require co-signers. So let me tell you one little thing here that's kind of a catch. I have seen students who have had medical bills that show up on their credit bureaus. And I have seen those parents apply for parent plus student loans. And those parent plus loans, they're often denied if there's any ding on the credit. If a parent is denied, the student automatically gets $4,000 in student loan money in their own name. And again, if you have to go to the route of student loans, you definitely want it in your child's name, not in your name. So anything you can do like that, future credit doesn't look at you as a co-signer in the same light as if all of that debt was in your name. So it would be important to think about that as you go forward. So now let's get to the good stuff, the scholarships. So when your child applies, colleges automatically will look at your student's application to see where they qualify for merit scholarship from that particular school. Once again, this is school by school. Some schools are very, very generous, others not as much. So merit awards are based on grades. That is the number one factor in a school awarding merit money. So if you have younger children, if you're on right now and you have a senior in high school, there's not much you can do about this. But if you have a younger child, I cannot stress how important it is to make sure those grades are solid from day one. Because as a lot of people have experienced, you have a rough freshman year or a rough sophomore year. We call it the sophomore slump. It happens to a lot of people. It's really tough to make up those grades by the time you're applying to school, get that GPA back up. But it is the number one factor in getting scholarship money. Oftentimes they're looking at grades and test scores. This year, there is much less reliance on test scores as schools go test optional. So if you have a subpar test score and the school you're applying to is going test optional and you have great grades, don't submit the test score. It could hurt you. So you want to make sure that you're setting your child up for success, and the grades most important. In the future, test scores will come back in and be important. From the admission people that we've spoken with at numerous schools, they're all saying that yes, they're looking at this as a one-time only pass on those test scores. A place that's often overlooked for scholarships, and we're kind of going from the easiest to the more difficult things right now as we're talking about scholarships. So a place that's often overlooked are the community scholarships. Most high schools will put together a list of community scholarships. They'll, I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it. They'll usually use one application, and they will curate this entire list, and students can pick up a packet in their guidance office, typically in January or February. students normally only have to fill out one application. And then the guidance office will turn around and send that application to all of the scholarships the student is eligible for. I cannot tell you the number of times I've been in high school guidance offices where they've told me no one who would have been eligible for the scholarship applied. Like, students just don't fill out that scholarship packet. It's often not grades and test scores. I've seen in some high schools, the PTA will offer 6 $500 scholarships as long as your parent was a member of the PTA. I've seen where a former student, now the dentist in the community, has offered a $1,000 scholarship for anyone planning to go into the medical field. Those are easy scholarships to receive. I've seen where anyone who's participated in baseball can receive a $500 scholarship. They do not need to be going on to play in college. And I've seen where the high school said no one from the baseball team, not a single senior from the baseball team has applied this year. And so that money just sits there. So talk about unclaimed scholarships. It's sitting right in your guidance office. So it's a great idea to check with your guidance office when your child's having their senior meeting, ask about the community scholarships, when they will be putting that packet together, that finalized packet. Because again, that's easy money to get to. The next place that I see a lot of families overlook are things that parents, grandparents participate in. Anyone who's in a union, oftentimes the unions will have scholarships, and union workers typically don't even realize this. And a lot of times it can be the grandparent who was in a union. It can be passed down to grandchildren as well. That is another place where I see a lot of money go unclaimed. Union scholarship funds have said, we hadn't had anybody apply this year. So you want to check into all of the local organizations, Rotary, Kiwanis, unions, any unique organization that a grandparent or parent belongs to. They may have scholarship offerings that your child could be eligible for. Those often require an essay in addition to an application. And, that's something that you definitely want to put some thought into, because you could be competing against other kids writing, great essays on the importance of XYZ. But you definitely want to check into it. Don't leave any stone unturned when it comes to that. Another source of money, and this is a much smaller pool of schools that offer this type of money, is an organization called Raise Me, and the website is raise.me. So Raise Me works in conjunction with 330 colleges currently. They're always looking to increase that number, but they offer $1,000 for every A you had in high school. They offer a certain amount for perfect attendance. They offer a certain dollar amount for every AP class that you completed in high school. So raise.me is a great place to go on. It's free to create a profile, start entering your grades, and then you can also see if any of the schools on your list participate with Raise Me. It'll give you a great idea of what type of money you're going to be looking at from that school, because it's a partnership they have with those specific schools. So scholarships are, everybody talks about, all these scholarships go unclaimed, but where do you find them? And I know personally, working with students over the years, there have been a lot of times where, you get down that rabbit hole, like, this sounds like a great scholarship. And as you click links, all of a sudden they're asking you to purchase magazines, to do other things, sign up for some free website, but has nothing to do with scholarships. So we really stick to a few smaller areas, or a few of the many scholarship sites that we've found are great resources. Scholarships.com is a great resource. Sally Mae is a great resource for scholarships. College Board also has a list of scholarships, and that can be a great source as well. One of my favorites, though, is My Scholly. It's myscholly.com. My Scully has a free version and a paid version. In the paid version, you can create a profile, and it's going to ask about your grades, your future major, certain things that you may have done while you were in school. It's going to ask about ethnicity and your background. And then it will culminate a bunch of scholarships that match things that you would be eligible for. So if you've never played baseball, you're not getting scholarships specifically for a pitcher or for another baseball player. So it really kind of weeds it down for you. My Scully allows you to categorize the scholarships based on, again, your profile. They assign a score, so you can rank them by score. So anything that has a score of 10 means it matches your profile really well. So you have a great opportunity with that scholarship. The lower the number, the less it personally matches you. You can rank by that score button, or you can rank by deadline. Gosh, I've got 6 hours today, or everybody's off school on Friday. Let's go through and see what's coming up due. And so you can plan for like maybe a week out and see what scholarships are due and knock those out first so you don't miss opportunities. They also allow you to rank by dollar amount. So if you know what the dollar amount is that you need, or you just want to complete the ones for the most money, you can also do that. My Scully is a great tool. I also like the fact that when you're on My Scully and you want to view what the scholarship entails, you can view it without being taken to other pages. It'll just give you a window with that view, and then you can decide if you want to click through. So scholarships are a job. They are a job for your kid. It takes hours to complete a lot of scholarships. And it's not because it's so incredibly difficult. It's because everyone procrastinates. Kids, when they see they have to write an essay, oh, they just agonize over it. And it shouldn't be that difficult, really. And you'll find that if you apply to a few, a lot of times you can recycle those essays for other scholarships with just a few minor tweaks. One of the best ways to start on any of those scholarships is to summarize down what the prompt is, really get to the meat of the prompt. What are they really looking for? And then start brainstorming without editing your thoughts. Kind of brain dump all the ideas onto paper. Oftentimes students make the mistake of being too general. Let's say we're talking about an anti-bullying campaign. Tell us why everyone, should participate in an anti-bullying movement. Why is bullying bad? And students will be very general. Well, it hurts people's feelings. People don't feel included. They never get to anything specific. Scholarships are typically awarded based on how unique they are. So everyone can say bullying's bad, but if you can give a specific example, something maybe that happened in your high school, something that you personally experienced, and really speak to that, that is more likely to earn scholarship money than very general statements. I've seen other scholarships for why you should have to wear a seatbelt. I'm seeing a lot more scholarships right now where you have to submit a video. And let's face it, with as much as kids are on TikTok, they should be able to submit videos without any problem. So, creativity counts. You want to be different. You want to be unique. It's not as much the grammar in the essay as it is the content. And that should be the first focus. And then, a final read through for that grammar. But the more important part is getting things on paper, like really trying to see what they can do, what is most important in that prompt, like summarizing that, and then how they can really address that in a unique, creative way that's not super general thoughts. So I am going to go back here because I can't see any comments. I'm going to see if we have any comments or questions from anyone. so that I can answer them. Okay, my kids have done these, nothing. It takes hours to get through these. It does take hours. And again, you know, we spend a lot of time working on scholarships with students because when they're here in our office, they can't procrastinate. In an hour, we'll knock out 3 or 4 scholarships often. And it's just because, you know, we have to get them done. And so we really work hard to do that. But if you know, I always think it's great when parents tell kids when their kids are freshmen, you know, you're going to have 2 choices to make this work. You're either going to get good grades, so you're doing the homework, putting the time in there, or you're going to be doing scholarships your entire senior year. And trust me, you're not going to want to do that your senior year. So you kind of lay down that ultimatum with them. But it's really important that you start the process early. There is no too early. And my Scholly's refreshing their scholarships all the time. And again, I really like their process. They have a free and a paid. The paid one is a little bit easier. You know, when you're looking for scholarships, because it's so specific to you. But if you don't want to do the paid one, they're still going to constantly curate new scholarships. So there's always new opportunities. So that's something that you really want to do. Erica just chimed in. It's easier to write when there's no distractions. And yeah, that's what our office does for you. Or, you know, if you plan a day with your child and you're just going to knock them out and give them some good ideas, if they're open to that, that will really work. But it's a job. It's not as easy as some people say. When somebody tells you they've gotten a full ride, I would think 99% of the time, that money's coming from the college that they're going to. The money coming from a college, easiest money to get, it's grades and test scores. And again, here's the thing. There are schools that award money, even if your child isn't a 4.0 student, even if they're only a 3.2 student or a 3.0 student, there are some colleges that will award money. And so you have to know what's more important, going to a school where you feel they're going to be more academically challenged, or going to a school they can afford. So those are some things that you want to look at. And again, we're here to help you. We've been dealing with these schools for years and years and years. And, you know, we have a pretty good idea of who's awarding what and which would be the best fit. And a fit has to be based on a lot of things, and money does have to be one of those considerations. So hopefully that helps. If anybody has any other questions, please, by all means, you know, put some comments in. Happy to answer any other questions that you might have. This video will be available for you to see it again. We'll be posting it as soon as it downloads into the cloud, and we'll post it back up on here so that everybody can watch it again. And well, there, Erica's got the post right there. The recording of the stream should be posted shortly after we finish. So we are here to help. If you need anything, don't hesitate, message us. We will get right back to you. And hopefully we can make your college journey easier.